Hola, Gus. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new debate on Monkey Week, a postponed debate from the Monkey Week 2020 edition. Back in November, if you were watching, instead of a physical festival, what we did was a TV show, like a pirate TV station. And because it was a pirate TV station, there were technical problems sometimes. And one of the biggest technical problems we had was with this chat that we're going to have today. So we decided with the kind collaboration of our guests to repeat it because it was so interesting and the subject is so pressing. And I think it's something that we all need to talk about, that we would do it again. If you see me and you will see Gustavo and Cindy speaking in English, it's because not only we have Alex Bruford with us, who's from England, but also because this chat is part of the chats that we have as part of the Ines Festivals network, of which Monkey Week belongs. It's a European network of showcase festivals, and Monkey Week is a part of them. So welcome everyone from wherever you're coming from. I will hand it over to Gustavo Iglesias, one of the main names at Radio 3, our sister radio station that we love and support, and they support us very much. So Gustavo, over to you, and I will come back at the end of the chat with any potential questions that the public may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joan, and it's a pleasure both for Radio 3 and myself personally to be part of another edition of Monkey Week, as strange and distanced as it is, and it has been. First of all, congratulations for your pirate TV show back in November, and thank you to Cindy Castillo, who's responsible for Mad Cool Festival booking, and also Alex Bruford, who's in representation of Live ATC booking agency. And we're here to talk about gender equality and or gender parity in the music business, focused mainly on the festival circuit. Needless to say that music industry as a part and as a reflection of the society that art, culture, and music itself deal with, is facing the great challenge of gender equality. But yeah, a big part of this conversation is being focused on the presence of female artists in music festivals. Although, as we know, this issue goes way beyond that. We're not just talking about female artists, but also the role of women in other parts of the music business, executives, labels, technicians, communications. So I think we've come to meet to people who have lots of things to say about this very important issue. So first of all, Cindy, thank you very much, and very nice to see you again. If you can open your mic.
Sorry, I always forget this. Well, thank you. Nice to see you again too.
Not at all, and thank you, and hello again, Alex. Lovely to see you again too.
Good to be back. I'm glad we got a chance to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, John has already mentioned that, there was some technical issues the first time we met. But I would like to start with something that we already talked about back then. And it's a very interesting point, almost a linguistical one, that Cindy brought out to this conversation. When we talk about equality and we talk about parity, we're not actually talking about the same thing. Are we, Cindy?
Yes, exactly. Because one thing is to have the same opportunities, okay, which is what I actually support. It's everyone having exactly the same access to all things that are needed. And a different thing is to have, a complete 50% lineup of women and men.
Mm-hmm. So we could understand that parity would be a means through which get to equality in a way.
Yes,
isn't it?
exactly.
Okay. So maybe we'll try not to confuse these two concepts. And to start with, well, I've already started mentioning the presence of female artists in festivals, which, as I also said, I don't know to what extent we can consider a reflection of a bigger picture, not only in the music business, but rather, society in general. Is there actually a difference? Is one thing the reflection or the other? And what are the specifics of the music business and the music festival phenomenon that we could start talking about?
Do you want to go, Sim?
And feel free to start talking anytime you like. This is yours.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's both. It's both things. Like, it's for sure the reflection of a bigger picture, because I remember saying that the amount of women that decide to pursue a musical career is for sure a lot less than the amount of men. So it's very important that we need to ask ourselves, like, why women don't believe they can be part of the music industry. Like, what are the obstacles that women face when they grow up, when they are forming their personality, when they start a career, and basically all the obstacles that stop them from achieving this purpose. But at the same time, I think it's also a reflection of a specific universe, because the music industry is a specific industry. And the answer to all these questions is probably not in the lineup of a festival or in the roster of an agent, but in the deeper social and cultural problem that, of course, has a direct reflection in the music industry as well as in any other. Well, I think that also the music industry is a specific universe, because under my impression, we're not talking about like a normal job that requires you to go and work 8 hours a day and just develop some specific skills to perform it. We're talking about talent here. We're talking about music, and music has no gender. Talent has no gender at all. Talent and music just connect, happen, and we can't control that somehow. So, well, what can I say? I don't think there's any booker or agent in the world thinking like, oh, I'm not going to book this person because she's a woman. I think we're basically focused on, we like the music, we love what you're doing, and of course the more superficial part of it, which is like, okay, this person is selling tickets and the business is working. But mostly, we think, or I want to think that we all think about music first than any other thing.
Yeah, and to Cindy's point about why is there that imbalance of male and female coming into the music industry and wanting to work in the industry or be musicians, I think from my perspective, I want young people to have role models in every area of society. I want my 5-year-old daughter to feel like she can do anything she wants in the world. And, if she wants to go up and be an astronaut, great. And, on the last SpaceX program, they had Shannon Walker was on there, one of the female astronauts. But then she looks at the Reading and Leeds lineup and there's no women on the bill. So it doesn't help young people, give them that aspirational view of I can do that because I can see other people doing it. We've just obviously had the first female vice president elected in the USA, which is a fantastic step forward. And now we need the first woman president to be elected, and I think for me, trying to do whatever we can in our small areas of society to give young people, especially women, the clear path to be whatever they want to be is all part of trying to secure more equality across society as a whole.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. Well, talking about role models, well, as I also said at the beginning, culture in general, music in particular, is supposed to play a role of leadership, inspiration for this kind of social changes. It's been like this for I don't know, for as long as pop music has existed, and it should be it still should be like this. So from your perspective as players in this whole music industry business, how do you feel this responsibility, and I don't know what steps do you think should be taken from your point of view in regarding this situation?
Alex?
For example, what do you do in Mad Cool and in ATC to get to this ideal?
Well, I think from an agent's perspective, we absolutely understand that the festivals can't book the artist if we don't represent them. So from our point of view, we are doing the best we can to get a balanced roster. We've signed up to Key Change with a pledge to work towards a balanced roster. And for us, that's an important building block, part of the conversation. If I'm going to Cindy and talking to her about the artist that I represent, but I'm not presenting her a balanced roster or a pool of artists that she can choose from, then her hands are tied. There's nothing she can do if I send her a roster that's just men. So that's a starting point for us, and we've been doing quite a lot of work internally in terms of the shape and balance of our roster and the artists that come into the company. But I mean, just taking it a little bit further afield from that, I think that there's lots that we can do across the business. I think, and also it should be noted that this conversation is not just about performers and musicians and people on the stages. It's about everyone across the industry, whether they're working in offices, whether they're in production, whether they're managers, crew, agents. And I think a big part of being able to promote equality across the industry is flexibility in roles and work, and making sure that everyone's work can fit around them, whether they're a mother or a carer or they're studying or whatever it is that they're doing in their life. That shouldn't preclude them from being a professional in the music industry or in any other industry. So I think our responsibility is to make sure that everyone has flexible roles and support and can do the things that are important to them while still being able to be great at their jobs. So I think, that's part of it. And then I think conversations like this, advocating change, just trying to do what we each can do. We all have little small spheres of influence that we, are able to make changes in. And I think it's important that we all do that. As well as that, I think that there are specific company policies that are important. I think making sure that people know how to report sexual harassment, people know what the company's policies are for those, people feel that it can talk to people at the company about any incidences that have occurred. All these kind of policies, making sure that these are in place and there's a framework around these kind of policies within the companies is a really important part of it as well. So for me, it's having these conversations. It's making sure that roles are flexible, making sure that structures and frameworks are there, but actually the root of it all is actually caring about it and prioritizing the issue and actually doing whatever you can to make it a better place.
Yes, I mean, I totally agree with Alex. I think that, from the festival point of view, as he said, the first step for us to book artists is obviously to talk with agents. So for sure, if agents change that policy and, they start offering a lot more female acts, that would for sure help. But also, I think that as a festival, we need to encourage that, let's say, positive discrimination somehow, to and to give or to show people all the things or all the women that are working behind our festival, for example, is 80% made of our main team is 80% woman, and this is something we don't normally show to people. We don't go out there saying, hey, Mad Cool is made 80% of women, But the truth is that maybe we should do that. Maybe we should for sure encourage and show people that, you know, our ticketing director is a woman, our sponsoring director is a woman, our production director is a woman. So all the people that see this would feel, or would have less fear to try and pursue their dreams within the music industry. Also, answering to your question before, like, what do we do as Mad Cool? I think we normally, without using it like as a marketing tool or similar, we have normally booked a lot of female acts in the festival. In fact, I would say most of the times our lineups are made by a very big percentage of women. Even though, as I said before, I believe more in equality of opportunities than you know, than in parity itself. But well, what else can I tell you? In our daily basis, you know, since our team is made by so many women, it's almost natural for us to think about this. Like, but I wanted to tell you a small example that I think it represents how things can change in if you support the cause. You know, we do this talent competition for emerging acts. We've been doing it since the festival started 6 years ago. And, you know, the first 2 years, we just announced the talent competition as normal. The talent has a jury of like 12 or between 12 and 15 people. And well, at the beginning, the first 2 years, I noticed that we had 90% of acts, bands, or whatever that signed up were men. So then we started changing the structure of the contest. And I thought, I'm going to change the jury and I'm going to make it 50-50, you know? I'm going to make the jury 50% women and 50% men. So the first year I did that, I had a bigger percentage of women signing up. And, you know, it was like, I thought like, no one would care about the jury. Like, there's no one paying attention to who the jury is, you know. But in fact, I realized there that there were people paying attention to that. So then the next year, I said, okay, not only the jury is going to be 50% women and 50% men, but, you know, I'm going to start kind of promoting on social media a bit, like, hey, the talent competition is open. Girls that have bands, girls that, you know, you want to be singers or whatever, please sign up. And then I noticed again that the percentage of women increased. And then this year, we had the jury being half, you know, 50% women, 50% men. I also did the social media thing of like, hey, girls, sign up, blah, blah, blah. And we also started including in like our newsletters and everything, the fact of, hey, the contest is open for everyone. Please sign up, girls, blah, blah, blah. So it turned out that this year we had 65% of the participation were women, you know, and it happened almost kind of naturally because, you know, we didn't really put the focus of our marketing in there, but it's like the result of a process of 4 years where we have tried to encourage women somehow, and it has had a direct reflection on the results of this talent competition. And in fact, right now, actually 70% of the bands that made it through the final are women, and are not only women, they are talented women, which is even more amazing, you know, because it's like, at the same time, I don't want people to think that they are there because, oh yeah, they are there because they had to fill in the spots for women. No, women are so talented too, and they can make it. So when we do little steps and we take little steps like this, as Alex was saying, you know, there are people out there watching and people out there connecting with these little ideas or these little movements that we made, and that has an effect. So we should definitely consider doing more of these.
That's really amazing to hear, and to see that progress over the 4 years. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a very good example of how, you know, parity measures can take us to equality. But well, and also initiatives like Key Change that Alex just mentioned, which is a platform of you know, different players in the music business, from festivals, booking agencies, and labels, whose aspiration is 50% representation of female artists in festivals by 2022. But actually, Cindy, you were talking about you know, this project that you've been developing. Actually pushing a little bit female artists to participate in these new talents or new bands contests, competition. Yeah, this takes me to a situation that at least at this very moment could happen, which would be, you know, getting this 50-50 parity of female artists at the cost of having most of them, you know, at the bottom of the bills in a small print. So I don't know to what extent this process to have it as, you know, as organically and naturally, and having this ideal equality could take longer than expected, as long as, you know, the big headliners and the bands or the acts that actually bring most of the audience to the festivals are still men in a big majority.
Alex, you go.
Anyone?
I think that you have to. I think the Cindy's program and getting people onto the bills at the bottom end is an essential part of it. Things move so quickly. I mean, look at Billie Eilish. She's one of the biggest headliners in the world right now. And 2 or 3 years ago, she would have been at the very bottom of the stages, and now she's at the very top. So things move quickly, and I think it's about giving people the opportunity to be seen, be heard, get on the stages. And yes, there will be that pool of old school headliners floating around for a little while, but that doesn't mean we can't all do absolutely everything to bring through that new talent. And I think as well, sometimes it's about taking risks on headliners. You know, for example, All Points East in London, they pushed Christine and the Queens up to be the headliner of their festival. Maybe it was a little bit early, but it was important, and it was great that they gave her the opportunity to become a festival headliner. And if you've got, you know, 6 headliners across your festival, or however many it is, you know, you can take a risk with one of them, you know. And you know, so Cindy can talk more about that. She knows more about booking festivals than I do, but I just think it's important to give people opportunities and occasionally take a risk like they did to push those artists forward. And if the artists are coming in, if the female artists are coming in at the bottom end as well, that's still important as well, because it's the opportunity to actually develop and grow and then become the next Billie Eilish.
Yes, I think it's important for us to take that risk, as long as agents know it's a risk. Because, you know, sometimes, I mean, it's like, sometimes we think, wow, I would like to put this artist on, you know, as a headliner, because for sure she deserves it, or let's promote this, or let's do this. But then, you know, that doesn't reflect the fee the agent wants. So it's a bit like, we should actually, I think we should all gather and talk about this and say, like, hey, let's promote, you know, female acts, but let's understand that me promoting this act inside of a bill doesn't mean she's going to sell more tickets right now. So this is also important for us.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, but for sure, I mean, I think any step that can be taken to promote gender equality, for me, is necessary and important to do.
Yeah,
because, sorry, but I was going to say, because I think we are very far from gender equality, you know, like, which for me is the main goal, to all have the same opportunities, no matter gender. And you know, and answering to your question before, the difference is that parity means that each gender is represented equally. But for me, the important thing is that we are far away from gender equality, which should be the important thing, or the first thing we should improve.
Yeah, I think also for me, it's about the attitudes as well. And historically, you know, the music industry, there are there's some terrible attitudes out there, and lots of the women that I work with still have to deal with this. I mean, most recently we had a high profile jazz act playing at the London Jazz Festival, and the sound engineers wouldn't take direction from the female band leader. They thought she didn't know what she was doing. She's the band leader of this very high profile jazz act. And there's hundreds of examples of that kind of situation. I'm sure Cindy can speak to that as well from her perspective. But those attitudes are what we need to eradicate as well from the music industry and society as a whole. So that's, for me, that's a real barrier as well.
I could tell you so many stories. Actually, just had a recent one like 2 or 3 days ago. I represent bands also aside from booking. So I was at a concert, and so the singer of the band said, "Cindy, could you please stay next to me, because I need to tell you some things so you can tell to the sound technician or whatever." Because the gig was small, you know, and since our situation doesn't allow us to have all the crew and everyone. So anyway, I was standing there at the side of the stage, and suddenly these 2 men, which were like the venue backliners or something, they just came to me and said, "Could you please move from here, because we are working?" You know? And I was like, okay. So I guess this person thought I'm just a groupie standing here watching at the singer or whatever. Or maybe he thought I'm just, I don't know, his sister. But I was like, well, I'm working too. You know, that's why I'm here on the stage. I'm not here. So it's like this little, I don't know the English word for it. In Spanish, we call it micro chauvinisms.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have like a little word for that, but well, we call it like that. So I leave these kind of situations every day, or every time I am at the festival, or every time. I mean, I could tell you so many stories, but I would have you like 3 hours here.
Okay, maybe we can ask you to tell us another one of those stories, because I think they're very telling of what we're talking about here, and about something that you just said. It feels like we're still a long way to achieving, you know, a real equality, and not just in the music business, but also in society. But before we move on to another subject, I would still like to tackle a bit further on this, you know, headliner situation. I read a couple of years ago something from Emily Ives, who's head of the Glastonbury 2019 festival. Well, she's head of the Glastonbury Festival, and in 2019, well, she who's also a partner of Key Change, well, had to deal with criticism about not having any females headlining the festival that year. And she said something like, "It's time to nurture female talent. Everyone wants it. Everyone's hungry for women, but they're just not there." I don't know to what extent you agree with that, and if you do, how come something like this can be told at this point? I mean, there is female talent. There's no way. There's no doubt about that. But why there are not, you know, as many females are as males, you know, being capable of headlining a big festival such as Glastonbury and others?
I would change Emily's phrase a bit, not much, just a bit. And I would say, you know, that it's time to nurture female talent, that everyone wants it. Everyone's hungry for women, but they don't think or believe that they can be there, which I'm sure it's what she was trying to mean somehow. You know, women are not there because for centuries, you know, they have been diminished. So the process is longer than it's like we are 20 years or 50 years behind what men have achieved in the music industry. And the reason why we are 20, 50 years behind is because we didn't believe that we were capable of being there. We had fear. The only reason, and this, I think I told this the last time we spoke, is the only reason I'm here sitting right now with you is because I'm a sort of a kamikaze person, you know, and I'm kind of fearless in a lot of things in life. And because I have had to become a man somehow, like every time I'm you know, having a meeting or working, I need to act, I need to have a male energy, I need to be tough, I need to be, you know, kind of bad mood or serious. Or so, well, what I'm trying to say with all this is that the only reason I'm here is because, as I said, I'm a kamikaze somehow. But there's a lot of people that are a lot more sensitive or sensible, I don't know which one is the right word, than me, and that get discouraged on the way there because, you know, many people keep on diminishing them. So I think you know what I said, that the important thing is that they don't believe or they don't think they can be there, which is a different thing than they're not there.
I'm really sad. I'm really sad to hear that, because I think it kind of it shows how far we have to go, really. You know, that many women still feel like that, and I know they do, because many of the artists and people that work alongside me tell me that, and it just shows the importance of these conversations and trying to make progress in the area so that women don't feel like that. It's really sad that people can't be themselves and be respected for the talents that they have without having to try to be someone else, you know?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is very sad and it very discouraging. Like I've thought many times during my whole career, you know, and you know, I'm not an artist, I'm not exposed to the world, I'm just on the backstage, let's say. I've thought like, wow, is it really worth it what I'm living right now? You know, it's I'm gonna say some personal stuff here. Get ready. No, like, is it worth it for me to go and have a meeting with a person thinking that this person is having a meeting with me because he's interested in the artist I represent, and finding out that afterwards all he wants to do is flirt with me? Or is it worth it for me to, you know, go and have a meeting with a person and to be exposed to chauvinist commentaries or chauvinist things or chauvinist attitudes or whatever? Like, wow, it really takes a lot of effort to keep yourself strong, you know, during the years.
Yeah. Of course, we're probably going to be talking about this issue for a long time, sadly. But in the meantime, when it comes to what you guys were telling about, you know, female artists not completely believing in themselves or trying maybe harder than men would, you know, to get heard and to get attention from you know, the audience, the industry in general. We're talking about you know, not just finding talent but also developing it, which is something that you know, festivals and booking agencies have a role on, but you're not the only ones, of course. And I'm thinking about record labels and management in general. What part of this situation do you think these players have when it comes to developing and nurturing and actually getting to show the audience this female talent?
I think everyone across the music industry has a role to play in it, whether they're running a record label or they're a manager or they're an agent or they're an artist or they're booking a festival. I think it's everyone has to do their bit to ensure that everyone has equal opportunities. That's just the way it is, and if you don't like that, you should move on. You know, it's that's where we're at now.
Exactly. Everyone should do their part here.
Also, media. Do you feel that I don't know, me as a radio broadcaster? Do you have the feeling that media should do more than we normally do to play our part also in this equality search?
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same.
Well, yeah. The question is, through your exposure to media and the artists that you work with and the artists that you book. Well,
Yes,
how do you feel that media? How do you think that media portray this female talent through the public, to the public?
Okay, look, I'm going to give you an example. I think, of course, media should do that. Media is another part of the wheel, as well as artists, managers, agents. Everyone should do this. But for example, I remember 2 years ago, Rosalia was playing at Mad Cool. So, and at that moment, it was just, the moment where she actually made this crossover and started becoming like an international artist. And anyway, during the festival, we get all the media coming, all the TVs, blah, blah, blah. Every single person that works as a journalist or comes there. So I had a one TV channel, okay, that asked for an interview, and asked for an interview with the festival. So, my communication team said, Cindy, can you do it, please? And I said, okay, let's do it. So initially I thought that, and I agreed to do it because I thought the interview was going to be about the festival, like the TV was going to ask, hey, Cindy, how's the festival doing? What are you doing? How's it working? Everything's fine. How many people, blah, blah, blah. But then it turned out that it was not like that. And the journalist, she made some questions about the festival, but then immediately all she wanted to do is ask me about Rosalia's darkest secrets, And I was like, and she was like, can you tell us her darkest secrets? Can you tell us what has she asked on her? And I was like, I can't believe, that first of all, you are a woman and you should be actually supporting her. It's our biggest star in Spain. It's a woman. She's crossing everything that no one has ever crossed before in the music industry in Spain. And, you're just not supporting her. The only thing you want to do is actually diminish her by, showing the audience her darkest things or whatever. Anyway, well, I cut the interview. But this is an example of how media does not support, and they also should do. So I guess this happens to every single artist in the world and person.
Yeah, I agree. And the only thing I was going to add is, sometimes female is used as a genre. People say female singer-songwriter. They don't say male singer-songwriter. What's that about? It's not a categorization. Female is not a genre.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I would only like to add something that I think I already mentioned last time we met, which is when I interviewed this artist that I think works with Alex, which is Georgia, an incredible artist, incredible album she released last year, and she was telling me exactly this. I mean, she was telling me that to get her music through, she probably had to fight twice as what a man had to, which is sad. But hey, as we say, we have a long way to go, but we hope we can walk it. Finally, well, I don't know finally, but we've been talking about female artists, but as I think we also mentioned earlier, gender equality is maybe a problem, or sorry, this lack of equality is probably a problem that has to do with the lack of women in other areas of the music wheel, such as labels, people working in festivals, in booking agencies, in management, in media as well. Cindy just gave us a very interesting example of what things could be like if more women were involved in different areas, like in this contest you told us about. So what's your view on this situation, on this lack of women in these other parts of the music business, and what steps could be taken to get more women involved in these areas, and what effect it could have once it was achieved?
Do you want to go, Alex, or?
Well, I think like I said, getting equality across the industry is really important. There's still a gender pay gap between men and women. That needs to be sorted out. Flexibility that I was talking about earlier, that's really important as well. So people can believe they can have long-term careers and families and do everything they want to do with their lives at the same time. That's really important. And I think it's just important that all the different parts of the industry are working together to promote equality across the industry. And I do feel like the conversation is progressing, and it's good that we're having this conversation now, and that there are many similar conversations going on. But for me, achieving that equality across the industry will just make it a much better place for everyone, a more positive place to be.
Yes, definitely. I mean, as with artists and, the rest of the things we've been talking about, everyone has to just take the same steps. And no matter in what position you are within the industry, it's important that we just promote it.
Mm-hmm. If we did, and if we got, this equality all across the different areas of the music industry, we would probably stop talking about gender equality. That's a feeling that I have, but I don't know how far we are from it. We've kept saying that we're still a long way to go, but I don't really know how long it's going to be. Of course, I'm not going to ask you, I don't know, when do you think this goal could be achieved, but I don't know, looking at the steps that have been taken in the last few years, all these, parity policies and measures that we've been talking about, what the situation could be like in, say, I don't know, a couple of years from now or 5 years from now?
I think the situation, as Alex mentioned before, sometimes things change very fast. I can tell you that when I started working on the music industry in Spain, like 20 years ago, I was probably the only woman on a stage in a festival. Like, I don't remember, maybe sometimes you would coincide with another one, but okay, we were two, instead of one. And nowadays, you see more women on stages, you see more women being managers, agents, everything. So I guess, what the people did 40 years ago allowed me to be 20 years ago in a stage. And what I did, or what I have been doing during the past 20 years, has allowed other people to think that they can do it. So I think it's going to change faster than we think within our industry. Okay. Still, as I mentioned before, I think this is a deep needed social and cultural change. And for sure, that's going to take a long time. But within our industry, I think, the music industry has proven to be itself quite adaptable, and has proven to be an open-minded industry compared to the rest of the world. So I'm sorry, my dog is around there. So I'm confident about it being sooner than expected.
Yeah, I agree with Cindy that especially in our industry, we will be able to accelerate the rate of change when it comes to that headliner pool, artists on festivals, opportunities for women across the business. In terms of that societal change, I feel like it may be the next generation really where we achieve true equality. But I think the important thing is that we are putting those steps in place now for people like my little daughter to grow up and come into a world where those people that thought Cindy wasn't working, or those people that wouldn't talk to the band leader, or many other examples, those people are no longer part of the industry or society as a whole. And the next wave of people that are coming through are brought up and educated to understand that we need equality for all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, finally, and as I said at the beginning, well, I'm just kind of helping you shape your conversation, but of course it's you, Cindy, and Alex who lead the way, and at last, I don't know, we've talked about a few very interesting points. I don't know, I have left something that you'd like to bring out at this moment.
You want to go, Alex?
No, you go.
Well, I wanted to bring out one important thing, which is, okay, let me see, how can I explain this? Like the other day, I did a radio interview, and they asked me, so Cindy, do you prefer to work with men or with women? Because it's known that when like women work together, you have a worse relationship. Like it's easier for a woman to work with a man than for a woman to work with another woman. Does that make sense? So then I realized, like, well, I do think that sometimes women tend to be, let's say, like, women don't tend to trust the other woman when, when in a workplace, suddenly you're there and then another woman arrives to that workplace, they feel like threatened somehow. And then I started thinking about this, and I realized, like, of course that happens. It is true that it happens, but it happens as a result of all the chauvinist situations we have been through. It's like it takes us so much effort to get to a place, so much effort to get what we want, or to be valued or considered as an equal, then somehow I think unconsciously it becomes territorial. So when another woman comes in, most of them feel threatened. So I wanted to say, hey girls, don't feel threatened, because you need to analyze that this is another result, that feeling is another result of all the bad things that we've been living through, So it's important that someone talks about this, maybe in another panel.
Alex,
at least that happens here in Spain.
No, I think Cindy summed it up very well there.
Okay, well, in that case, let me call back our dear host, Joan Vic, who I think is right there.
Yeah, here I am. I've been listening very, very fondly. It's been really interesting. My plan, because we've had around 40-50 people watching all the time, but there are no questions. There's comments about saying yes girl, and things like that, but no questions. But I wanted to ask each of you, including Gustavo, just a kind of a very short question about the subject of the panel. So, do you think parity in festival lineups is feasible? And if it is, when do you think it is? Let's start with Alex.
I think, well, I mean, the one of the issues has been that we've lost a year of festival bookings, and who knows what's going to happen this year, so that hasn't helped progress the situation. And some of the targets that have been set, I think people were not expecting to lose a number of festivals when those targets were set. That aside, I do feel it's achievable. I think it may take us it may take us 4 or 5 more years to get there. You know, the time that it takes to develop those new Billie Eilishes and those people, you know, but I think it's about, it's only going to happen if everyone involved takes the issue seriously. And I believe most people are now, and I believe most festivals are doing what they can to do their best. There are some festivals who are not. And we're going to need those festivals to get on board with realizing that this is an issue that we all have to solve. So for me, I think yes, it is achievable, but I do think it'll probably be 4 or 5 years until we get to that point. But Cindy might have a different view as a booker.
Well, I would have said it was achievable in 4 or 5 years, maybe, but now, thanks to our friend COVID, I think it's going to take us a little bit longer, mostly because, you know, we didn't have festivals last year and stuff. So, but anyway, I think it's achievable. But as I said before, I agree more with gender equality more than parity. So I'm not sure if achieving that, it's actually the solution to the problem. I don't know if this makes sense.
And as for me, not just as a journalist, but rather as a music fan and as a human being, all I can say is I don't know when this is going to happen, but I'm pretty certain that it is going to happen. Looking, and I wouldn't like to sound like an old fart here, but looking at the younger generations, younger artists, so all these Billie Eilishes, these Rosalias, these Georgias in the world who are making incredibly exciting music. And most of all, you know, young people who are in the audience, in the crowd. I think it's probably up to them in probably not very long time. Well, to just forget about gender in these terms of you know, just accepting live music and art and culture, you know, as something natural, beautiful, and well, gender issues are not even considered because there are not any anymore. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
Okay, so to finalize, to wrap this up, this is not a question, but because it's a reflection sent by Ana Sanabia, who is the booker of the Paraíso Festival, and she used to be the booker at FIP. Benicassim, actually, she was my mentor, and I learned everything I know from her. So, and she says words of wisdom. She sent a comment saying, women continue to assume male models to enter the labor market, both artists, promoters, bookers, etc. So evolution also requires a change of model and assuming a different way of doing things. So with the wise words of Ana Sanabia and the wise words that you've all put into this panel, and my cat trying to come into the camera.
And my dog barking over there.
Yeah, this is what it does when you work from home. So thank you very much, all three of you. Thanks everyone for watching, and here's to meeting all together physically and embracing and exchanging beers and live shows at Monkey Week this year in November. Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Thanks to you.
Everyone.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.